Hello, everybody. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson with an update for you. Active tornado warnings are continuing. There is an expansion of the tornado watch as well to let you know about in this update. Everything is getting started right now. Again, you're watching Hutch's weather. Here in the central parts of North Dakota, north central South Dakota, we have severe thunderstorms, a line that have broken out in an area of a tornado watch. We've had tornadoes on the ground. We have an active tornado warning right now. That's out in Kidder County right now for the Steele area. This tornado warned storm continues to plow its way off to the east, but it's only moving at a speed of about 20 miles per hour to the east-northeast. There's still rotation in this storm moving through Steele. If you're in Steele or if you're anywhere on the I-94 corridor and points south, the rotating part of the storm down to the south of the interstate, working its way off to the east towards Tappan. So moving at 20 miles per hour, that storm is going to continue its trek in the general direction of Tappan right now. It is only about 7 miles away from you. That is the major push of the storm. There'll be some rain heading your way earlier. North of the interstate, very heavy rain and some hail with these storms as well. And the tornado warning is actually in effect now until the 8 o'clock time frame right now. So it's only 7 minutes away, and the storm continues to move off to the east. The very latest on the reflectivity you're seeing on the screen, but looking at the velocity or spin in the storm, here it is. Here is that main part of the storm with the rotation, basically just south of Dawson right now. So Steele, you still have a pretty tight little couplet that we call it in this area. And there's two of them right here next to each other. So we have a couple of areas of rotation on this storm that are showing up. And one wave is pushing out in the general direction of Steele. So here we have a tornado vortex signature on this storm showing very tight rotation. That's the greens and the reds next to each other right over the interstate, right near Steele now. So you should be in your safe spot in the Steele area as we speak. And as we take a look at the other storm in the area, there is the brand new tornado warning. It includes Steele, Tappan, and all places in between on I-94. A brand spanking new tornado warning issued by the National Weather Service in effect until 8:30, moving east or east-northeast at 37 miles per hour. It's an observed tornado with considerable damage threat and 1-inch diameter hail. Grabbing some details from the National Weather Service here, and it does look like we have, so the tornado warning is continuing now for this storm until 8:30. We do have just a lot of details. Pretty sure we have a tornado in progress, but hard to tell with the motion. Says a storm chaser out there, dropping tornado west. Okay, so the tornado watch has been extended to include you folks in Stutsman County, so let's get that as well. And we'll take a look at the storm down here in north central South Dakota. A tornado warned storm. Boy, is this bright on the radar display. Check this out. We have very bright reds next to greens. This is from the Bismarck radar. The tight rotation showing up right here, and that's working directly in the direction of Harriet and points south. So just crossing out of the Lake Oahe area, heading toward Mound City, is a tornado-warned storm. Now, the latest from the Weather Service in South Dakota says is moving east at 21 miles per hour. It is an observed tornado with 2-inch diameter hail potential as it's working its way eastward at 20 miles per hour. So here is the rotation part of the storm as detected. Mound City is only 9 miles away, and moving at 20 miles per hour means it's about 20 minutes to 30 minutes away. So before we get to 8:20, that rotating tornado producing storm will be making its way directly towards Mound City and areas near Harriet or just south of the Harriet area as we speak. So that is a look at that particular storm. Now, there is a storm warning for a cell that's pushing through and out of the Strasburg area. Here is a look at the reflectivity on that. It is exiting the warned area for Hague, also out towards Strasburg. Hail, the main threat from this. Look at the returns that we're getting on the reflectivity out here, moving outside of Pollock and Harriet. So this is considerable size hail potential with all the blue that you see in here. This is a tornado possible tag from the National Weather Service, moving east at 24 miles per hour. Moving east into Harriet now, you can see that we're getting some development of hail in the upper levels of the storm over the Harriet area as we speak. So hail to 2 inches in diameter, considerable damage is possible with this particular thunderstorm working its way through north central South Dakota and toward the Ashley or south of the Ashley and Zeeland area. Here is a look at a warned storm that is exiting the McCluskey area, heading up towards Harvey and Wells County. Wells County, you're in the tornado watch area. These storms have not shown a lot of rotation tonight. Let me go ahead and take a look at the latest on the reflectivity, what we're looking at now. Here's the base velocity. Pretty much unidirectional type of wind that we're seeing away from the Bismarck radar there. I'll look at the storm relative to see there are a couple of pockets showing up. Very weak spin and shear in different areas of this storm. Nothing too organized at this particular time as far as rotation goes, but still the hail threat is making its way right towards Harvey and northwestern parts of the Wells County area. All right, that is a look at the latest with the warnings. Let's get into this tornado warned storm heading towards the Tappan area. Almost looks like there are a couple of different couplets with this one. One here right over the I-94 corridor near Steele, literally over the Steele area right now, moving off to the east towards Tappan. But we also have this very broad area of wind blowing toward the radar here in green and away from the radar. So kind of anywhere in here. Here is the outflow punch from this storm. And then the National Weather Service is saying this storm is likely rain wrapped. What does that mean? That this rotation right here is wrapped by rain, so chasers cannot see that storm. This is what the reflectivity looks like on this particular storm. Here is the area of rotation that we were watching, right here where this triangle is. And as you can see, it's surrounded by areas of heavy rain. That's what's showing up in the red here. So there is a little notch on the backside right here. There's also this entire area along Interstate 94 where we got motion blowing away from the storm here and into the storm here, which does indicate the potential for some shear in this whole storm right along I-94 between Steele and Tappan right now. So that is what we have ongoing right now as we look across Kidder County. Let me give you a look at the latest on the watches. So the National Weather Service has extended the watch area to include Stutsman County now because the tornado warned storm that's moving along I-94 is heading right in that direction, and it's still spinning profusely as it works its way into that direction. So you are now under a tornado watch in Stutsman County. So if you are in Cullum, if you are in Jamestown, if you are in Cleveland or Medina, these storms are heading in your general direction at a clip of about, as you see here, some of these cells appear to be moving over 35 and 40 miles per hour now. So they are accelerating. That should actually increase some of the wind gust potential. So that's a look at the warning. Now we are seeing a 10 down here. What does this 10 mean? That means it is a very strong tornado vortex signature. I would be very surprised if a tornado is not on the ground. We have 103 knots of shear with regards to this storm. So there is some incredible spin right over the community of Steele. If you are in Steele, you should be in your tornado shelter right now. This is a very dangerous storm system right now. And the spin over the top of you is incredible and it is strong. And as we take a look at the let's just go ahead and look right at the base velocity product here. We'll see if we can measure. See the bright colors here? So we've got greens and reds right next to each other. It's moving out of Steele and right over the I-94 corridor at this particular time. I'm going to take a look at the ND-DOT cameras right now because we do have a couple in that general vicinity. And that can give us an idea of what we have going on out in that area. Let's take a look and see if anything is showing up. We do have one that isn't too far from Steele. It's likely going to be seeing the rain and Tappan. Nope, that camera is out of commission. Okay, as we look at this storm one here in Sterling, this camera is showing all of the rain on the backside of the storm. You can see the low-hanging clouds associated with this surface-based thunderstorm activity working its way out of the Sterling area and heading right now into Steele with its rotating couplet. And this one, this view here is looking south, so you can see from the interstate view to the south, inundated with rain down there still in that particular area. So a lot of very heavy rain with these storm cells. Let's see what we're seeing up here to the north. Those images not available. How about this one? Okay, this is from Medina. This is in Stutsman County at the border, and this is an incredible view. You see this daylight out here? This is the updraft part of one of the storms. And that's the whole developing line of storms on the backside, that inflow structure of the storm. Some chasers call that a beaver tail. As you look at this, you see rain on this side of the storm. This is the downdraft side of the storm. Somewhere back in there in that rain shaft, if you're driving on the interstate right now, I hope you're watching Hutch's Weather. There's a tornado warned storm not far from Steele, not far from Dawson, that's rotating profusely. And in fact, there's two areas of rotation that I'm looking at here. Both are fairly well organized, but the one near Steele, incredibly strong shear. So again, if you're driving through the rain, you may get surprised. So if you are out watching this right now and you know people are traveling east-west bound on I-94, give them a tag on this and let them know. Thank you, Shelley. I appreciate your sharing of stars. Please pass the word to those folks out there that you know may be traveling on I-94. This is a very dangerous storm. Is Grand Forks spared tonight? Terry's asking. Terry, I got to tell you that these storms are going to be heading in our direction, but the risk of severe is much lower in the Red River Valley, and it will be much later tonight before they make their way towards us. They could be windy. I'm concerned about heavy rain between now and tomorrow in the midday hours. We'll have waves of storms. About 3 different waves of storms will be possible. Thanks, Anthony, for sharing names of people who could benefit from this. I'm going to send out an email blast. If you are a part of Hutch's Weather on hutchesweather.com, I do have an email part of the site where you can give me your email address, and the email blast will tell you that we are covering tornado coverage right now. So that's what I'm going to do. I think it's pertinent to do so. So let's go ahead and set this up, and we'll just say, tornado warning on I-94 near Steele. Live coverage now. Okay, sorry. Thank you for bearing with me while I type this up. This is going to go out to everybody who's subscribed on hutchesweather.com by entering your email address. Once you got that, boom, you should be getting this. So let's go ahead and hit send. And we are going to send it. I've got hundreds of people that are now going to be getting an email. I just got an email. Did you hear it? Okay. So we've got a confirmed tornado on the ground. We've got rain-wrapped tornadoes. And what I'm doing is sending an alert out to those folks who have visited hutchesweather.com to share with them the urgency of the situation. And again, if you happen to be traveling, you can get hutchesweather.com on your phone. This is what it looks like out there right now. So let's go to Hutch's Weather briefly, and we'll get right back to storm coverage. We'll look right back into the eye of this storm as it's heading into the Dawson area right now, right along Interstate 94. If you're traveling on Interstate 94, do not drive through the rain and the hail. There is a tornado-warned storm that is moving right along the interstate. Right now, there are 2 different couplets. On hutchesweather.com, it's telling you right at the top of the page. You can click right there to watch it on your cell phone, on your tablet. You can watch on your YouTube channel. I'm streaming on all these channels right now, so hopefully you are getting the latest on these channels. Now, if you happen to scroll down the page and you have reports of severe weather in your area, please click on your photos and share your photos, whether you're looking at rotation, funnel clouds, hailstones. I sure appreciate that, particularly anyone out in the Bismarck area and out towards Steele and Dawson. Once it's safe, it's not safe now. Please let us know what you are seeing in these storms. I'm going to look at the National Weather Service details right now. Okay, it looks like we have a cone-sized tornado being reported on the ground outside. Tornado crossing the interstate east side of Steele. That's exactly where we were showing you. Let's get right back to the latest details. Thank you all for your support of stars. That's the dinging that you're hearing there. And thanks for your question. Let me see if I can see what we have going on here. Okay, a lot of stars being sent. Once again, this reminds me of Labor Day storms of 98. I believe it was. Jamestown ended up with baseball-sized hail. Yeah, and probably wasn't far from that time frame that well, geez, I remember a time when EF4 moved through Medina, north of the interstate there too. So that wasn't too far from that time frame. April Byers, thank you for your sharing. Okay, let's get right back to the storm coverage. This tornado warned storm has just crossed the interstate. Here's a look at the radar once again. Thanks to all of you who have subscribed with your emails to hutchesweather.com. That way you get an email blast and know that I'm covering the storms right here, right now, live on all of my channels, all at the same time. Here's the storm that I'm concerned about right now. If you are traveling westbound, west of Jamestown, North Dakota on Interstate 94, you're going to drive through rain, you're going to drive through hail, and here we got the reflectivity showing. You're going to drive through the rain and hail as soon as you get to Medina and points after. Then you get into this Kidder County area here, and you're driving towards Dawson, and there is a tightly rotating storm. And in Steele or near Steele, there's been a tornado. You see this blank area in the storm right here? That's caused by the spin that's in the atmosphere, centrifuging all the heavy products out of the rotating updraft. It gets thrown out. Just like tornadoes throw debris, the rain and hail get thrown out, and we get a lower reflectivity in the area where the rain-wrapped tornado could be. When we turn this over to velocity product here, here's base velocity, you see that spin is exactly in the same spot that the hole was. And there is a strong, strong spin here. So we got strong spin right here. We got strong spin right here. And look at Dawson. I see something else in that area of Dawson right now, too. We got a whole cutout right here with some spin in the storm as well. So if we take a look at a couple of other products that we have access to here, let's take a look at, let's look at some dual pole data if we can. Let me see if I can find that here. Storm relative. Here, let's go with, why am I not seeing that? Here we go. Oh, there it is. Okay, so this is a look at the difference in reflectivity. Now, what we're looking at, difference in reflectivity. If debris is lofted in the air, debris gets lofted and it looks different to the radar than raindrops do or hailstones do. So you're going to have a high difference in reflectivity. And look at what's been moving over the I-94 corridor right near Steele. That could be some of that area. So this is the difference in reflectivity. When it's real high, that could indicate some debris. We do have some of that indication near the Dawson area where there is also ongoings there. But again, the tightest rotation, it was here in Steele. It's now right here moving this way. And there could be the indication or signature of some debris there. This is called a correlation coefficient. How alike are the targets? Now, let me take a look at the radar site here, make sure we're looking from Bismarck. We are. So here we are looking at Steele, and on the last scan near the surface, there is a lowering of the likeness of the targets right here. So lower likeness of targets. So right here near Steele, on the interstate and moving north of the interstate, we have a couplet that is rotating tightly, that is possibly lofting some significant debris. And there's confirmation from spotters out there of a large tornado on the ground north of the interstate, just crossing the interstate near Steele. So that is going on right now. And if you are traveling on the interstate, please pass the word, pull over, stay away from this storm. Don't drive through this rain and hail near Taplin to drive into the tornado. So please pull off the side of the road, let this system pass. It's moving east though. And right now that rotating couplet is just north of the interstate. So what we tell folks is don't sit here and wait for the tornado to get to you. It's moving towards you. Travel at right angles to the tornado. So if you get off the highway or interstate, and right now, this storm is right here heading in this east-northeasterly direction. The rotating couplet is right here. Let me show that to you once again as we look at base reflectivity. Here we go. Interstate, rotation tight, rotation tight, rotation tight. So most of that rotation is along the interstate. If you go down south, there's a little bit less of that tight rotation showing up down there. But again, seeking shelter in a sturdy structure is the name of the game, and that's the best thing that you can do. Just got my email, Leora. Thank you very much. Tracy Lee, thank you for watching. Did you get your emails? Thanks so much for checking in. Signed up and got it. Thanks, Angel. I appreciate that. Okay, good. It's working. There should be a link in there too for you to head right to the broadcast, or you can copy the link and paste it into your browser on your phone or anywhere else. Let's update my viewers down in South Dakota. I've had questions from Pierre, South Dakota tonight. Here's what's going on. Harriet, there is a tornado warned storm just to your south. It is skirting very slowly. This hasn't moved much. It was just over the Missouri River, Lake Oahe area here moments ago, and it's now moving. What was that? It was moving right in towards that Mound City area. It's still not even there. It's halfway there. Now, it's 8:11. That storm is just creeping and crawling along, and there's still some evidence of very tight rotation right here moving towards Mound City. Dangerous storm. Please seek shelter. Sturdy structure. That means get out of mobile homes, manufactured homes. Do not try to seek shelter in an RV or a camper. You need to find something much more sturdy. Let me check my comments or questions for my viewers who are watching right now. If you are watching Hutch's Weather and you're watching from my live stream on YouTube, hello to everybody watching on YouTube. We have a lot of folks on here, and I appreciate you watching. Do you have questions? Drop a comment. Hello, thanks for watching. Tornado warnings are occurring now across the Central Dakotas. So appreciate you. Drop me a line. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm going to check back here from time to time to see if there are questions that you have from what's going on with the coverage tonight. Here is a look then. I just want to take a second. You're going to see something weird pop up on your screen here, but let me just... Well, no, let me just do this. Here is a couple of views. If you've been looking at clouds and you want to see a great place to share what you're seeing, look at these mammatus beauties out here. So we've already had reports of hail the size of baseballs not far from Bismarck tonight. And now on Hutch's Weather, as we get into the eastern third of North Dakota, where I typically have been covering for the last 17 years, look at these mammatus clouds. This is in the Cullum area. Justin, thank you so very much for sharing. So this means all is not well with Mother Nature when you start seeing the underside of a boiling pot of water over your area. Now, the severe storms are west of you in Jamestown. They're west of you in the Cullum area right now, but they're heading in your general direction, and you've just been included in the tornado watch now until 11. Another view from Stacy in Edgeley, North Dakota. So down in south central to southeast North Dakota, the mammatus clouds are roiling and boiling up. This is another view southeast of Edgeley. Stacy Ellington, thank you so much for taking the time to share. You can peruse other pictures, but what I'm asking all of you to do, if you do have reports of severe weather when it is safe to do so, well, then it is good for you to share with all of us what kind of weather you're experiencing as these storms blast their way through. Back to the radar. We go. Severe thunderstorm warnings are, let me see, we do have one of them showing up down here in South Dakota on the north side of the tornado warned storm for Harriet. So this storm here on the north side, all severe, huge hail, but the rotating part of the storm is moving to Mound City in about 5 to 10 minutes. So if you're in Mound City, seek shelter right now, get to the lowest floor. You know what, I oftentimes want to make sure that I communicate very clearly. If you are in a home and you're in Dawson right now, make sure it's a sturdy home. Make sure that you're getting to the lowest floor possible. Think of this pen as debris. That pen is glowing. Think of this as debris. It's a calculator. If this is flying through the air at over 150 miles per hour, it's going to make your day not so good. So you want to get out of the way of this flying debris. You want to get below the level of the flying debris. You can do that by getting down to a basement. In the basement, you're below ground, so you're below the level of the flying debris, and you give yourself the best chance to escape a tornado by getting to the basement. Get to an interior room. Stay away from windows. And apparently Sarah's answering questions that I'm missing to Kate Olson. So thank you, Sarah, very much. Kate Olson, if you have a question, go to the basement and get to an interior room. Try to think of this. Put as many walls between you and the storm as you can. Walls, walls, walls. Don't go to a room with windows if you can help it. Get to an interior room without windows. That might be a closet even. And in my basement, it's a stairwell, because a stairwell offers more protection for my head. Should walls start coming down, or maybe something gets shoved into the house, I've got a stairwell over me offering me more protection. So get into the lowest floor, interior room, closet or stairwell. Get down low and protect your head and stay there until the threat of the storm. You're going to hear wind and you're going to hear hail and very heavy rain first, and then the rotating part of the storm is coming into your area. If you're in Dawson, we've got a rotating, what looks like a rotating couplet to the north of town right here. We also have the main event right over here, not far from the steel area. So rotate a couple different areas of some strong rotation within this storm system working its way. Now crossing out of, well, it's going right through the central part of Kidder County at this particular time. Let's get the latest from the National Weather Service here as I look for that. What does Minnesota look like? Sarah, it's going to be very late, but we do have a chance of some thunderstorm activity beginning generally after 10 to midnight tonight, no matter if you're in northern Minnesota or west central Minnesota. And there's a risk of severe tomorrow in central Minnesota as well. Any look on Litchfield? Kate asked about Dawson. Dawson, you are in the area indeed. Thank you, Sarah, for helping out with the questions. I'm only seeing a few flash by sometimes, and that's definitely where you want to be. Thanks, Annie, for signing up. I appreciate you. Any news on Dawson? Kate Olson said, yeah, Dawson, you should be seeking shelter. There is a tornado-warned storm. This area here, I want to show this area right here. See how you see reds and greens next to each other? But this is green moving toward the radar in Bismarck. This is wind moving away from the radar. So what we've got here at different levels is this going on. So there is an overturning of the air. This is outflow from the storm that's blowing out. So this is an outflow from the rain and the hail blowing this way. This is the inflow coming in. Sometimes that can cause some shear. No, you never go in an elevator. You can be trapped and fall into an elevator shaft. Yeah, Dar, that is a good idea. I didn't say elevator. Don't go into an elevator shaft. You're exactly right. Stay in an interior room away from windows in a sturdy structure. If you happen to be traveling, I want to be clear here too. If you happen to be driving along and you're listening to Hutch on your mobile device, hutchesweather.com, I got to tell you, or you're watching on YouTube and you happen to be traveling, if you're sitting on the interstate right now, there's a blast of wind coming at you from the west. How fast is that wind? Here's a look at some of the velocity measurements that we're seeing. Look at my mouse cursor here where we see the bright reds. The radar is picking up 40 to 50 mile per hour winds in some of these areas. So I'm not seeing, this is a long ways away from the radar, so we could be getting more than that down near the ground. So yeah, this is still showing 40 to 50 mile per hour outgoing winds, right next to some 20 to 30 mile per hour ingoing winds. This is in a tornado warning, I'll say this is a good sign that we're not seeing 200 mile per hour or 190 mile per hour winds with regards to this storm, but tight rotation is showing up. So if you're driving on the interstate and you're heading out of Stutzman County and you're leaving places like Cleveland and Medina, there's the big rest stop there, and you're thinking of traveling west, wait, do not do so. This is a tornado warned storm. It is moving in your general direction. The rotating part of the storm is north. Jean, Fergus Falls, a long ways out before storms get to you. And the chance of storms there is not zero as we go through the night, but the chance of severe, much lower than our neighbors off to the west. We have strong thunderstorms north central parts of North Dakota and the Devil's Lake Basin. Rugby moving up towards Belcourt. If you're watching from Rugby, hi Rugby. I have a couple of non-severe storms. There's some hail in a couple of these cells, like this one just off to the southeast of you in Rugby. That's a hail-producing thunderstorm right there. Willow City and the Botno Hill area, seeing some thunderstorms making their way in this general direction. These have all been below severe criteria for some time, but you can expect hail up to around a half inch or 3/4 of an inch in diameter from a couple of these storms from time to time. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Huge thunderstorms that have formed in the tornado watch area. This little cluster's moving north. As it moves north, it's going to move into air with less energy in the atmosphere. And that should cause that storm as it exits to decrease in intensity. These storms, we'll see what happens when they go into Stutzman County. Earlier, it was not in the watch area. Now it is. Brooke, thanks for asking your question about Bemidji. Bemidji will see storm activity after midnight all the way until noon tomorrow. It won't last consistently that whole time, but you will have waves of storms potentially moving near or over the Bemidji area between after midnight tonight and about midday. Jamestown, what's Jamestown going to get? You got a line that's producing a very large tornado on the ground moving east. moving into the Medina area in the next little bit. It's also moving out of the Tappan area or through the Tappan area and out of the Dawson area. So all of these areas are in the tornado warned area. Steele, you are no longer in the tornado warned area in Steele. The all clear has been sounded for you. Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate you for having my back, and we don't want anyone in danger. So again, if you're driving, you do not want to drive into this storm. So one of the pieces of advice is seek shelter, find shelter in a sturdy structure. Okay. There are rest stops. There are areas where there are brick buildings, but you got to get to interior rooms and you got to stay away from windows. You don't want to weather the storm in your vehicle at all. Vehicles offer very little protection from tornadic winds. This storm is right on or near Interstate 94. Thompson, North Dakota. Thompson, North Dakota is going to be later tonight. These storms are generally moving in your direction. The risk of severe will be lower. The main threat in the Thompson and Grand Forks areas will be gusty straight line winds and very, very heavy rain production between late tonight and noon tomorrow. That's my concern for you. Clouds are moving west toward the storm right now in Jamestown. Isn't that crazy? That can't be good, she says. And you know what? So you got this inflow into the storm here moving toward the west, she says. Okay. And here comes the storm this way. So this is taking on a big, big cluster of storms. And this is what we call a mesoscale convective complex, MCC. This mesoscale convective complex is made up of a lot of individual thunderstorms, but we have one that's rotating and has a confirmed tornado on the ground right there. Dar says, use a staircase. Doesn't matter if it's the floor down, stay out of the elevator. Good idea, Dar. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and take a look at your, I'm looking at your questions. Fargo this evening. Yes, it's going to be after 10 o'clock to midnight. There will be a chance for some storms in and around the Fargo area. There was a thunderstorm that was trying to form near Langdon. Let's see if I can click and go get that radar site going. Okay, it's not allowing me to do that right now, so that's okay. We'll just worry about that one a little bit later. We do have the active tornado warning heading with severe thunderstorm activity. Look at the hail here in Stutsman County. This could be some pretty significant size hail just south of Woodworth, south and east of Pettibone, moving east-northeast. And most of these cells, let me go ahead and turn this on. Most of these cells are moving northeast. Look at this, 48 miles per hour. Thank you, Kathy, so much for your support. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here. Okay, looking for folks asking questions on my other channels. And let me ask a look on my channel here on YouTube and see if we have any folks there asking questions. Okay, Brandon, good to have you. Is a tornado going to come to Moorhead? No, that's a long ways away, so I wouldn't count on that. Brandon, thank you for your question on my YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button or like the video. That does help me out a lot. How long you think until it gets to Jamestown? Let's go and answer that question for you, Catherine, right now. Thank you so much for your question on my YouTube channel. Let's go ahead and show you that as the crow flies right now, the storm cell that's in the Medina area moving into the James River Valley is right here, 27 miles away. These are moving east-northeast, and they're moving at a clip. This tornado warned storm is only moving at about 30 miles per hour. Some of these cells are ripping at 40 miles per hour. So this cluster of thunderstorm activity slowly showing signs of moving a little bit north of Jamestown. That said, this is all moving east in this general direction. So 27 miles, moving at about 20 miles per hour. So we're a little over an hour away from this getting a little bit closer to Jamestown. So I would say let's put that at about 9:40 for this main energy to be working its way to your area in Jamestown. So between Medina and Jamestown, doesn't look like storms and Tyler isn't home. Oh, I don't like storms and Tyler isn't home. Okay, Cassidy, I don't know where home is, but hopefully if you're in the path of these storms, that you're keeping your eyes and staying informed. That's the important part. Tornado warning continues to update you folks down in the Mobridge area, north central South Dakota. Look at this hail core. This storm has this little hook on it right here. That's where the rotation is. It's throwing all the hail and the inflow in the storm towards Harriet and Point South. The rotating couplet is right here. We got 2-inch diameter hail possible right here in and around the Mound City area, and that's where the rotation is the strongest. Looking at the velocity or the spin in the clouds, we're seeing bright reds next to bright greens and blues. This is an incredibly strong rotation vortex signature here moving towards Mound City. If you are in Mound City, you should be in your shelter now. There could be a tornado there for you. Ellie, I'll get to that tornado forecast, excuse me, for Fargo and your question about Judd and Fargo as well. Thank you so much, Cassidy. You're in Judd. So that area definitely is in the path of some of the activity tonight. If you are in Mound City or anywhere south of Harriet, prepare for large hail over 2 inches in diameter for some. Baseballs, okay? Prepare for a possibly strong tornado to make its way very slowly through. This puppy is only moving at what, 10 miles per hour? Let's see what the Weather Service says. 18 miles per hour now. Moving east, due east into Mound City now. It's moving into Mound City now. Considerable damage, and it is an observed tornado. I will go to the National Weather Service forecast site here. Let's go and take a look at what we have going on from the latest message from South Dakota. Confirmed ongoing west of Mound City in Campbell County. That's right. So thank you, National Weather Service Aberdeen, for that. We've got pictures from some folks from the NSSL, National Severe Storms Laboratory. They have a cell out there. They're out on the storm right now. So that is one nasty looking storm going through north central South Dakota right now. It is definitely a supercell, and you can actually see this sucker spinning even in a still photo. So it looks like Hutch is getting more information. We got a new tornado warning, got to be Stutzman County. Let's get back up to that one, shall we? Okay, so let me turn off my line measuring tool so I can move to where we need to go. Stutzman County. If you're in Medina, this storm's moving towards you. If you are in rural portions of western Stutzman County, do you see this little sliver here? Here's the White County line. That's Stutzman County. So if you're in Medina, you're not in the tornado warned area. Look at this. This is near Tappan right now. That very, very strong couplet is right here, moving east. Let's see what the National Weather Service has for its speed. Boy, these are likely going through cycles, these tornadoes here. We're seeing some that move north of the interstate. Now, this one is showing up just south of the interstate. So again, not a good idea to sit on the interstate and park. It's good to get out of the area, okay? We like to tell folks, if you're in the path of a tornado and you can't see which way it's moving and it's a ways away from you yet, then travel at right angles to the storm. That's the safest. Don't sit there and wait for it to come to you. Travel at right angles to the storm. Don't try to outrun a tornado, but this one is moving at 17 miles per hour. So if you're on the interstate and you get out of the way of it, that might be the best course of action if you do not have other safe, sturdy shelter. This is nasty. This is a tight couplet. It is very close to Tappan right now. Tappan, I should say, right now. That storm, as the crow flies, right here is the rotating couplet with the storm. We got the latest scan right in. Let me give you a measurement to Medina right now. This storm from Medina is 12.9 miles away. It's moving at 18 miles per hour. You're looking at 40 minutes still before it gets to you. So the storm warning for the Tappan area, as well as areas of extreme western Stutzman County out there. This storm warning shows that, what are we talking about here? I'm sorry, I got to turn my line path off. That's what my problem is. Okay, there we go. So the tornado warning expires at 9 p.m. Your current time, 8:29. It's for the next half hour. It's going to take about 40 minutes to get to Medina. We got to, I'll tell you what's going on here. They're only issuing short lifespan warnings because we had one tornado move not far from the Steele area and Dawson area and move north. That's now up here. That rotating part of the storm has weakened. Now that warning has expired. Look at this. You see this bright red? That's some strong wind. Let Hutch measure that wind for you. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. This wind here, as we go in, right where this brighter orange is over 50. It just must have got a new scan in. So, I saw some 60. Okay, so we got 40, 60 mile per hour outbound winds in the red, and we've got some inbound winds going about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So this is a pretty strong looking little couplet here. That is called a couplet because we got outbound winds right next to inbound winds, and there's no 0 point in the middle. So those winds are spinning right over the top of this area. This area is located, this spin is located just south of the interstate by only 2 miles. So if you're over in the interstate area, that is some stout and strong thunderstorm activity with tight spin working its way eastward at 18 miles per hour as it works its way across. Okay, let me take a look here. I'm still learning how to use some of my software here. Confirmed ongoing tornado, Mountain City and Campbell County. We have a tornado warned storm is just now moving east and near Tappan, just moving out of your area. It's not safe to get out yet of your sturdy structure. Large tornado now, says the NSSL. That's the latest. That came in a little bit ago now at about 8 o'clock. We're 8:30. Let's double check what's going on here from Bismarck. For our viewers in Stutzman County, the tornado warning on the cell in Kidder County, this concern is just southeast of Tappan on the west side of the new warning box. So that's right. So basically, this is the area. We're showing it to you right now in real time. You should be seeking shelter in that interior room. If you're sick of hearing about this, I'm very sorry about that, but you just got to remind folks that are just now tuning in because they're wondering, what is this storm moving over me? If you're in Medina, if you're in Cleveland, you're likely going to be traveling through, if you're traveling on the interstate, you're going to travel through rain and hail. You're going to get an awful surprise on this one. Do not travel into this storm. Stay out here. And in fact, it's best to pull off and go east at right angles to the storm and get out of its path. This storm is moving right down the interstate. It's moving east at 20 miles per hour. You have time in Medina to respond. Find sturdy structure, a house attached to its foundation, preferably with a basement, preferably made out of something very sturdy like brick. So please excuse me. That is what's going on right now as we look into areas just south of Tappan. Thank you. Okay, my good friend Tom Schrader, checking in. Tom, good to hear from you. I know you've been busy up in the Minot area. Thank you so much. And Tom does what I do. He covered weather in Minot for 26 years. Tom Schrader, Hey Tom is on. Go check it out up in the Minot area. If you're up there, he's keeping you ahead of the storms that are going on right now in Rugby. They went through Minot, moving into that area. He has that area covered. He has Bismarck covered. He's your guy. We're talking about this. We're talking about this right here in Tappan and Medina, rotating thunderstorm making its way eastbound. I'm going to play a little bit. Okay. I'm not going to play a little bit. My program is going to get restarted right now while I go and look at ND roads. We're going to take a look and see what's coming into Stutzman County right now. These cameras have been providing us with a view of these storms. See if we can see them as we move into the Medina area. This storm is heading towards Medina. It's a little ways away. We should be able to see the rain-free base underneath the storm. This is the Medina camera looking west. So you're looking into the mouth of the storm here. I've already had some rain in the Medina area here, right? Now, as we look south, you're seeing not so much there. And now looking off to the, this is looking east. And look at the heavy rain looking out towards Fargo from Medina. So it looks like there is some heavy rain now passing through Medina on its way eastbound. Now let's take a look at the next camera that we have access to out here. I'm going to go back towards Tappan, and image not available. Okay, well, I guess we can't go there. We did have a tornado cross the interstate near Steele. Here's a look from Sterling. Whoopsie. There we go. Sorry about the flashing on your screen there. Okay, we do have very nasty looking clouds. This is looking off to the south. That looks like the backlit, so that's going to be southeast as we look along Interstate 94. So we're looking into those. New area of rotation now near the Napoleon area, so we're going to get on that. These storms are cycling a little bit as well. I got to restart my radar software, and that's what's happening right now. So I will have this back up for you in just a second here. It just takes a moment, and away we go. Okay, we're back on and we're live. Now let's get back to the radar data. Not seeing much from these DOT cameras. Let me look from the south down here, or maybe from the north as we look from Pettibone. Nope, no camera there. Let's look from Jamestown. What can we see from there? Looking eastbound, let's look westbound. Looking north, looking east. That's pavement. Okay, let's see if we can look west. There we go. Yeah, that's looking in the right direction. We're seeing the dark skies, but I'll tell you what, we just can't see anything on these cameras. So back to the radar we go. And here is a look at the rotation areas. We have a tornado watch in effect. Morton County, you're dropped. Oliver County and Center, you're dropped. We don't have a worry anymore in McLean County. So all of these areas out there, you're free and clear of the tornado watch now. That's not going to be the case as we look down here. So we got a couple of areas of rotation that we're watching with this storm right now. Boy, I'll tell you what. Yeah, there is. Look at this. This is outflow from a storm, and then we've got some inflow right here. That's not far from Napoleon. We've got some rotation there and some pretty tight rotation not far from Napoleon itself. So these storms are just showing some rotation. Do you see how this is stretched out? We got this long area of green next to long. What's going on here? This is called an outflow. So that outflow from the storm, from the rain and the hail out here by Tappan is pushing out in this general direction. Here's the inflow coming in. So we got this whole area that has some spin or some shear going on with it. And there is a very tight area of rotation right there, not far from you folks in Tappan. So tornado warning does continue as this storm is pushing its way off to the east. A couple areas of some spin showing up even up to the north of this where there's no warnings right now. Nothing that's as strong as what we see going along the I-94 corridor. All right, very good. Thank you so very much for your reports. Let me see if we've got any kind of uploads of photos from viewers out there. Here's South Dakota. Look at this area south of Harriet moving into Mound City. This has maintained this very strong couplet from the Bismarck radar now. We're looking from the Bismarck radar. And this storm shows some significant rotation. It's an observed tornado with considerable threat, 2-inch diameter, hail only moving at 15 miles per hour. It's in the Mound City area right now. That could be a very large destructive tornado by the looks of this. This radar data is coming from Bismarck. It's a long ways away from the radar site. Aberdeen might have a better view of this particular radar, but even that one is a little ways away yet. So basically, I'll switch to the Aberdeen radar data here while it loads up. So now that's coming in. We'll take a look at what it's showing here. Now we can see that this is the tight rotation. Is it also over Mound City? You betcha it is. Okay, so here is from the Aberdeen radar, a closer look, and it's in the same spot as the Doppler radar from Bismarck was showing. Double Doppler confirmation of a nasty, nasty storm out there. And this is the one that the NSSL storm chase group is on, apparently. They were sending pictures of a supercell thunderstorm out there. And Bismarck is saying that in general, we expect the tornado risk to continue for the next couple of hours. Thank you for that information. National Weather Service Bismarck doing a great job out there of keeping the areas warned in the path of these storms. And you take part in that as well by passing along your reports. Latest scan just in, still right near the Mound City area. Very tight rotation with this storm working its way through. Let's take a look at what the Aberdeen radar is seeing down here in Stutzman County. It's not that much closer, but we get a double Doppler effect here. And look at this. Right over the interstate, we have this couplet working its way across the interstate right now. Not far from Medina, not far from that Crystal Springs exit, right in that area. So very, very tight rotation continues in this tornado warning storm. There has been a confirmed tornado with that as well. Let's see. I'm just looking to make sure. Northeast. Okay, so we have two areas of concern here. Tappan, strong rotation and persistent right on the interstate. Get out of the way of this storm. If you're in Medina, if you're anywhere in western Stutzman County, get in your safe place in your home. Hopefully that is a home that is well mounted to a foundation, a sturdy structure, and get to a basement if you have one. If you don't have one and it's mounted to the foundation, that's all right. Just get to an interior room, put as many walls between you and the flying debris as you can. We also are seeing some rotation right now that's fairly strong right here, not far from Napoleon. That's moving northeast. Isn't that weird? We got this one moving east. We got this one moving northeast. So convergence of some rotating couplets there. And look at this. This looks pretty stout too, although it's broad. We got strong wind blowing towards Aberdeen here, and way over here to the east of Pettibone, it's moving north. So this is a broad area rotation. So that's a whole thunderstorm complex that has some spin in it. Now let's take a look at some storm tops and cloud tops. Let's take a look at what we got going on there. Wow, what a night of weather here. So let's look at the echo tops. These will tell us how high these cloud tops are punching into the atmosphere, going through the lower levels of the atmosphere and punching into what we call the stratospheric layer in some of these cells. Take a look. What you're seeing on this is how high the storms are, 57 to 60,000 feet. So 50 to 60,000 feet tall in that rotating confirmed tornadic storm, the supercell storm near Harriet. So that's what's going on there. Now, these cells that are up here near Napoleon, this guy that has the spin on it northeast of Napoleon has punched up to 53,000 feet. That's a nasty one. There's some spin showing up with that one for sure. And this cell here that's working its way over to Tappan is over 50,000 feet as well. Now, as these storms punch up to that height, they're riding at the top of what we call the troposphere. Sometimes we have an updraft on these storms that can really be strong enough to punch through the start of the stratosphere. Those are going to be capable of some significant hail when they're that tall. Okay, the National Weather Service is reporting that they've got a report of a train laid on its side on the east side of Steele, North Dakota. So you're looking at Steele, and the tornado crossed the interstate there on the east side of town. That if it tipped over a train car, it gives you an idea of the force of the wind of these tornadic storms. That particular rotating part of the storm moved north towards Pettibone and weakened. And then a new rotating couplet has taken over here and is now progressing out along the areas near Tappan right now. So some terribly destructive storms here. Here's what we call storm relative velocity. What this is doing, it's a calculated value. And this is showing the velocity that the radar is calculating, and then it's subtracting or adding the motion of the storm to it, either way, right? And it's showing that this couplet is still showing up right here and another one right over Tappan right now. So there is still that very strong shear or spin in the storm right here. Right here. How far away from the Tappan area is that? Let me get my little measuring device out here. Let's go with some spatial tools over here. Thank you all for your help. Thank you for your questions. I haven't looked at your questions for a little while, so bear with me while I'm covering that. Bonnie says, stay safe, everyone. Amanda says, is Jamestown going to see anything? Long ways away and moving at a fairly slow clip is this rotating storm. So we'll be hopeful, but you have just been added to the tornado watch in Jamestown, in Medina, in Cleveland, and in Cullum. So keep that in mind. As we take a look at the rotating part of the storm here, what we're looking at, velocity. Okay, one thing to point out. Bismarck has a radar, and this rotating storm is how far away from the Bismarck radar site? Let's see. It's east of Steele by Tappan. You see this little 57? It's 60 miles away from Bismarck. 60 miles away from Bismarck. Okay, so the radar coverage in Bismarck is good. It's solid. From Aberdeen, this storm from the radar there is 106 miles away from the Aberdeen radar. So that gives you an idea there. And when we look at the Mayville radar, which is located right here, this storm is 113 miles away. We're going to get the best information from the radar that's the closest, and that would be the Bismarck radar. And that's why the Bismarck National Weather Service office is the one in charge of issuing warnings for Stutsman County. However, the point is that by the time the beam gets to these locations, it's pretty high in the sky. So we're looking at and seeing spin that's showing up in the clouds very high up in the sky. How high is that? So let me take a look here. I'm loading up some scenes so I can switch back and forth here. So thank you for your patience. It's a long ways from Fargo. I get that. It's 8:45. Tornado warning continues for western Stutsman County, not far from Medina. Thanks so much, Ryan. I appreciate your stars. I'm also loading up some settings. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go here. Okay. So the storm that is working its way into Stutsman County here is moving easterly at 14 miles per hour. So it's so slow. Will it make it to Jamestown? That's a long ways away yet. So we don't know for sure. There is a rotating couplet right here on the north side of this warning box, right? So it's actually skirting on the north side, whereas before. So this tornado, it might be wrapped in rain. Might be very difficult to see. If you're driving on the interstate, you may get one heck of a surprise. There's also some rotation showing up not far from Napoleon down over here as well. So a couple areas of rotation that we're watching fairly closely. I'm going to switch back to the Bismarck Weather Service radar here to get the closest radar. We'll take a look as that's loading up. So we have a couple of areas of rotation in this storm. And let's see, it says model. There we go. Doppler radar. The clock is correct. Velocity. Okay, so in looking at this, we have a couplet right here on this storm. And then, there is this outflow from the storm working its way into the Medina area as well. And still near Tappan, there's some pretty nasty looking shear or spin in the storm on the backside. What radar program? Cool stuff. Learning a lot. Andy, good to have you on board. This is one that I'm not, I'm familiar with. It's called WSV3, so you can look it up and find out more information about it. And it's very handy, and it does have a lot of tools on it that I am still learning where they all are. I was pretty used to my last radar software, but I got to tell you, the only way to learn is to force yourself to use it. Tornado warning continues until 9. It's now 8:47 for the next 10 minutes, moving east at about 20 miles per hour. 1-inch hail. Location of the shear, Crystal Springs. Crystal Springs, as we talked about, that exit there, that rest stop area there, that is where the concern is right now. So we have a rotating part of the storm there. We have another rotating part of the storm. That looks like we got motion towards the radar and away there. So some awfully interesting looking radar data right here, right now. So dangerous storm nonetheless, moving eastbound on I-94, and it's quite dangerous. This storm here has Storm Chase team on it from the National Severe Storms Laboratory, NSSL, and they are there. Will this move into Lakes Country? Ashley is asking. There'll be a chance of storms in Lakes Country. For all of you asking questions, I am going to answer those right now after this review of the Mound City activity. I'm going to look on my YouTube channel, see if I've got any more questions. We do have just tuned in from Reed Timmers Live. He intercepted it twice out today, but didn't catch where. Oh, okay, so you didn't hear that. So Reed Timmer, you know him. He chases tornadoes. He's in our neck of the woods today, and definitely appreciate your reports there. Thanks so much, Shifter. Catherine saying, how long until Jamestown? It's on its way. Yeah, so we've got the details covered there. Let's talk a little bit about the forecast after I show Mound City. Now, the tornado-warned storm here in Mound City, the rotating part of the storm here is just off to the east of Mound City by a little bit. You're still in the warning in Mound City, and this thing was crawling before, but the latest motion from the National Weather Service office says it's moving east at 20 miles per hour. It's a radar-indicated tornado. 2-inch diameter hail. What? 2-inch hail. That's what's going on there. That's redonky-donk hail out there south of Harriet, heading into the general direction of Eureka. But this thing's crawling along. So I'm obviously going to be concerned about some huge rainfall amounts from that storm, because over the last hour or so, if I play this back, you can see the rotating couplet, the greens next to the reds, has been ever present for the last several scans, and it just is really creeping and crawling along in that particular area. So any storms towards Kindred, any storms towards Fargo, any storms towards Lakes Country, let's get the latest. Okay, Jamestown. Okay, Stutsman County. We'll get back to you momentarily. I'm seeing a rotating storm starting to show up on the outside here, not far from you folks. If you are in if you're in Foster and Eddy counties, Hutch will be covering that next. Let's talk forecast momentarily. Let's go to the latest. I'm going to go to the old school stuff here. 2.15 inches north of Steele. Thank you, Nathan, very, very much for your report. I'm liking that right now. I'm liking Brandon's question about Devil's Lake right now. I'm liking Terry's question about Kindred right now, because I like answering questions for you, and that's what makes Hutch's weather the most bestest, because I get to hear from you about what you're seeing, like 2.15 inches of rain in or just north of Steele, and questions, because I get to answer the direct questions you're asking. Now let's go to the latest model data. Okay. And, you know, the other beautiful thing about this is, you know, I do take breaks once in a while, but not often. And I am able to not worry about having any issues with programming. I'm just going to be here talking to you about this. So this is a look at Pivotal Weather. Okay, so let me just take a look at that. Pivotal Weather is a great site, by the way. If you want to find out more information about models and different models and peruse through them, this is a great site for you. Meteorologists all over the country use this site because it's great and quick at displaying forecast model data. Now, let's look at the future radar. I said future radar, please. It's not, it's not having it. You know why? Because the model data is just coming in. That's why it's acting goofy. Let's see if it'll load up future radar for me. Here we go. Okay, this is an hourly updated model. So I got to tell you that every model, it changes its mind a little bit, but it shows everything. Okay, I have sound effects machine here, and that's called the petering out sound effect. These storms may, according to this model, well, fizzle a little bit as they work their way into the eastern third of North Dakota, but not the case in central North Dakota. And this is after midnight. This is 1 in the morning. Then those storms rip into northeast North Dakota, northwest Minnesota. But will they be severe? The risk is going to be lower, in my opinion. And I think our main concern is going to be gusty straight line winds. And I don't think they'll necessarily be 70 or 80 mile an hour winds. We haven't seen many reports of that other than that train car getting flipped over, but that possibly was a tornado because it was a tornado warned storm. Right here, I've got an area of rain and thunder making its way into the northern parts of the valley. And this is 10Z, that's 5 in the morning. So when does it get to Kitson County? You know, you might get some spits and stuff making its way in late tonight after 10 o'clock. And then it's going to continue to rain as we go into the morning hours. It looks like this model, the HRR model, is going to push most of it into the northern half, north of Highway 200 is where it's looking like that. So that's what's going on with that model. I need to, not want to, but need to look at others, because let me tell you why. These storms, this model, said that these were going to move out and move into Stutsman County and fall apart and then start diving south and diving north. That's not what we're seeing. We're seeing this mesoscale convective complex moving through Stutsman County. That's a big cluster of thunderstorms moving east. So I'm concerned that this model doesn't have the best solution. Let's look at another model. Let's look at another one. Let's see, find one that's updating now. I want one that's new, fresh, clean. Okay. All right, let's take a look at this. This isn't all the way in. It's just now coming in. It's hot off the presses, folks. The calculators in these supercomputers just now telling us that the storms now, this one is not looking good. It shows the storms now that are moving into the Foster and Eddy County area, moving into the Devil's Lake Basin. I have no problem with that, but what's missing is this. It's showing nothing down here. This model, throwing it in the trash. It's out of here. Let's find a different model. That model smells funny. Okay. Sometimes when you don't like the smell of one model, though, you can pull up another model. And let's take a look at this one. This one is still calculating the most recent model run, but this one showed earlier. Look at how good this model did. This model is the WRF model, and this one did real well. Thunderstorms up near Minot, the cluster of storms moving through Stutsman County now. This model yesterday was showing this, and it still says we're going to have a Boeing line segment of storms moving into southeast North Dakota. The time is 10 o'clock. Stutsman County, you're an hour away from this. That's Jamestown, 10 o'clock. This model was finished this morning, and it's doing better than some of these hourly updated models. I like this one. I'm going to give this model a good old pat on the back. That's right. Thank you very much. Sorry, Roxanne, if I made you laugh. This model smells, throw it in the trash. Yeah, sometimes you just got to just look at it and scratch your head. But you know what? That's why we have numbers of models to look at, sometimes too many, but that's okay. And we get a lot of different solutions. And early in the event, each of them's possible. What is Hutch doing? I'm looking at what the radar is doing now, and I'm finding the model that's the best fit. And as a meteorologist, I say, this one is not out to lunch. This one might actually be with the program. It might be a little late, a little early, but at least it has the activity happening where it's happening. This model is Hutch's winner for now. As we go into the evening hours, look at things percolating here. You're looking at 2 in the morning, okay? So if you're out walking the llama, percolating showers and thunder showers, it doesn't look like the risk of severe continues here. But look at this. As we go towards daybreak, 5 a.m., we'll have scattered showers and storms repeating performance through the morning hours. So how do you want to count this? If you're right here in western North Dakota, right here, okay, wave 1 this evening, 10 to midnight. Wave 2, boom, coming in the wee hours of the morning. Well, it percolates all day up there in northwest Minnesota, and wave 3 develops, and this is going to be the severe event tomorrow evening and afternoon from Lakes Country and points east. This model might be onto something. We may see a shift in where the Storm Prediction Center says the risk of severe weather is going to be tomorrow, because this is what that looks like. Ooh, wow, this has been a long update, and I appreciate each of you for hanging in with me. Let me see. I'm looking for your questions. Why can't I read this? No, I can read. Don't say that. Okay. All right, here we go. Tornado warning does continue. It has shrunk a little bit, so that what I mean by that is they're lopping off an area. Okay, so here the pink box near Tappan, the threat is out of Tappan right now, and it's moving along the interstate. Look at Medina right now. Do you see the reds and greens next to each other? That area right there, it may be the area where a new tornado warning would be issued, because this warning is set to expire at, well, let me double check this, 9:15. Your current time is 9 o'clock. The storm is moving out. The rotating part of the storm is moving out of the warned area. Look at this nonsense down here, though. That's that one coming up from Napoleon. That's spinning pretty good. That storm is spinning pretty good, so we'll keep our eyes on that. So southern Stutsman County, southwest Stutsman County, if you're anywhere from Cullum, Streeter, all of these areas right here, these are the areas where I think that we're going to, look at this. This is pretty strong shear right here, okay? So we've got a lot of spinning storms on the far south of this particular line of storms right there. I'm going to go ahead. Thank you very much, Ashley Lynn. Thank you so much for watching. Will this hit West Fargo? We just went over the forecast. This particular storm, not likely. Storms, yes. After midnight, we'll have rounds of storms through the valley until noon tomorrow. It doesn't mean that everyone's going to have rain all day passing through. However, the threat for showers and thunderstorms will go from about, say, after 10 o'clock and midnight tonight for the Red River Valley into western Minnesota into tomorrow, as we go toward the midday hour. So that's what we just covered in the forecast segment of this just moments ago. All right, tornado watch. What's going on out here in Bismarck? Bismarck's still in the tornado watch until 11 o'clock, but the storm line has now shifted off to the east of you. Corson County out here, things are looking like that. Mobridge, Eureka, this nasty thing right here is making its way south of Harriet, right through Mound City, and it's making its way in. And I think I've got, you know what? This is a dangerous storm right here moving out of Mound City. This thing has had a large observed tornado on the ground by the folks with the National Severe Storms Laboratory, NSSL. That's out in Oklahoma. These folks are chasing storms, measuring them. They have a Doppler on wheels, all kinds of tools to measure these storms. These folks are the pros. Hi, Leo. Come here, Leo. Come here, Pedro. Okay. All right. This is Pedro, the prognosticator. Okay, and Pedro is a little nervous, and he's under the table right now. Do you feel a little nervous around thunderstorms from time to time? Pedro does, and Pedro doesn't like, he doesn't like the 4th of July either. It gets so noisy. So if you get nervous around storms, the best thing you can do is know this, that this storm with the tornado is impacting, even if it's a huge tornado, it's impacting this little narrow 1 mile wide area. Okay. This one's been possibly on the ground for an awful long time, but it's a 1 mile wide area. Not everybody in this warned box is going to get the tornado, but it's likely that some will. Right, Pedro? You get right. Do you like treats? Yeah. Do you like thunder? No. So Pedro says, find out the information, look at where the storm is going from a trusted source. Maybe me or some other certified source, somebody who knows what they're talking about. This is moving east. And then learn what you can do to stay safe. Do not try to ride this one out. If you are in a camper, don't try to ride it out if you're in a mobile home or a manufactured home. These storms mean business. It tipped over a train car outside of Steele. Okay, so that's on the North Dakota side on I-94. We'll be bringing you all the information we can. How's Devil's Lake looking for later tonight, Brandon? There's storms moving your way right now out of the Foster County area, Eddy County area, and pushing up in towards Maddock right now. Are they going to be severe? The risk is low. Heavy rain, thunder, and gusty wind will be the main threats. That's your forecast, and it comes in the next 2 hours. Anything towards Carrington, Elizabeth, right now? Let's take a look. Thanks for asking, Elizabeth. Okay, so the severity of these storms on your end here, Carrington, New Rockford, Cheyenne, not severe. Pardon me. I working without dinner tonight, but that's okay because I'm covering weather. Working right into Cheyenne. That's a non-severe storm. Some small hail's possible, not severe. Some gusts of wind, and those burps might equal to 40 miles per hour. I think I got another furry forecaster. It's Leonardo DiCaprio. Go ahead and hand him over here. He's been wandering around. So Leo, the feline forecaster, says that these storms are making their way into Foster and Eddy County right now. The ones moving towards Carrington are coming from a severe cluster of thunderstorms. And Leo says that's enough weather coverage for me today because he's got to go seek shelter. No, he's in Moorhead. We're okay. We're okay, Leo. So if you're in Carrington, we have these clusters of storms moving through your area now. That one just passed you. There's another one moving towards you. These are non-severe, but you can see the pink in here. Those are some areas with some hail cores, and they're drifting into your general area. The strongest of these storms is on the south side. Now look at this. If you're in Woodworth here, you got some of these pinks moving through your area. Those could be hail up to about 1 inch in diameter. They're skirting through. I hope your crops are off. And you know what? It can be non-severe hail and still take punishment on your crop if it's falling hard enough and heavy enough. So keep that in mind. So we don't want that, but we got some real mean, nasty storms working their way in. This is moving between Medina and Cleveland. There's a pink hail core right here that's drifting right over that area right there. You see that? There's a backward C shape to this line of deep reds and pinks right there, right there. That is a gusty area of the storm as well. So these storms definitely making their way to the north and east. The latest speed as I check in on this one, that storm, it's said to be moving at 53 degrees at 54 miles per hour. 53 degrees is not the temperature, that's the direction, by the way. Thunder and lightning crazy in Jamestown. My cats want to go outside. What? I don't know a cat that likes wet, but now I've got a tornado vortex signature on this storm down here. Let's take a look at this. South of Tappan. This is not far from you folks in the Napoleon area, not far from Streeter. If you're in Cullum, you're in the general vicinity of all of this nonsense too, but mainly you can see Cullum down here behind Hutch's chair. You might be able to see it from Cullum. Now, there is a vortex signature right here. What does that mean? That means there's going to be greens and reds right next to each other when we look at the velocity signature. Let's go look at that velocity that's measured by these fancy pants Doppler radars, and we can see that we do have and have had, as we loop this radar data here, green. Oh, yeah, right there. That's the one. It was stronger earlier when it was right back over here, but now it's weakening a little bit, but it's still there, mind you, a strong couplet right there. So is the weather going to hit Cullum right now? Everything's north of you in Cullum. Thanks for your question. How does Buchanan look for severity-wise? Okay, Amber, I got to tell you that, yeah, if you are in the Pingree, Buchanan, and Kinsel area, right? PBK, is that right? Yeah, there's Pingree. There's Buchanan. Okay, all of this area, all of these storms are heading your way. You're going to be on the very heavy rain and hail potential area of the storm and the gusty winds. The rotating part of these storms, I think, will stay on the south side and where the inflow is. So typically, what the heck is Hutch talking about? What's all this? Let me show you. Go reflectivity. I'm going to try something new. Let's go telestrator. Latest scan, telestrator. Is it telestrating? Telestrators, telestrate. Okay, here we go. South side of the storm. You were saying, you noticed in Jamestown that the clouds were moving this way. Look at that telestration, okay? Clouds were moving toward the west. That's this south wind, southeast wind feeding these storms hot, humid air, okay? Now, on the backside of this storm system, we got some colder northwest winds blowing down on the backside, okay? That's telestration across the nation, and it really brings a lot of temptation on the south side of the storms here. These are wide open to the inflow of hot, humid air. Up to the north, the inflow into these storms, you've got outflow coming through here, colder, drier, rain-cooled air that's undercutting the storm, and it decreases the stability of the storm on the north side. So down here is where we have the best chance for rotation. Down here is where we have the source of fuel blowing into the storm. These south winds are pretty strong. In fact, I think I can show you some wind data if I'm not mistaken. Let me try this. We're going to go to the surface gust, wind gust data, turn that on. The numbers you should see popping up on your screen are wind gusts right now. So we have winds gusting to 28 miles per hour from the southeast heading through Jamestown. Let me double check that wind direction. Let me see. Wind. Yeah, it's just going to give me the speed probably, but we'll try it. Oh, there's the wind arrow. Yeah. See that? See that? That's called a wind barb. And if you go to meteorology school or pilot school or anything like that, you learn how to read it. That means the wind's coming from the southeast at 10, 20 knots, but it's gusting to 29, as we just showed you. Cool stuff. Now, if I click on it, does it give me more information? Because Hutch likes more information. No, I think I'm still in telestrator mode. That's why. Now, if I click on it, will it give me more information? Yeah, probably. Okay. There it is. There's the METAR data. This is the measurement from Jamestown, 70 degrees, and the wind is from 120 degrees. So you go around the compass, you start at 0 at the top, 90s over here from the east, 120. So southeasterly wind, 21 miles per hour, but it's gusting to 28. There you have it. 88% relative humidity. Woo! No wonder Hutch is pitting out over here. It's hot, it's muggy, and it's not fun, okay? All right, Valley City, you got some thunder showers that are non-severe coming your way. So I just wanted to let you know, thunderstorms are starting to fire now in the eastern part of North Dakota. Oopsies. My telestrator is apparently still on. So let's see. Okay, so we do have a couple of thunderstorms starting to form now north of Aberdeen and out here in air that's less, how do we say it? Less unstable. It's more stable. But it's still going to be able to produce some thunderstorms as we saw in your forecast. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Let's update you on some good news. Hutch has good news. The tornado warning is gone. It's done. It's over. I'm not seeing it anymore. And if they were going to continue it, likely they would. I'm going to check in and verify this with my friends at the National Weather Service. Have a spotter setting along I-94 at Medina. Report is heavy rain, no hail, and not notable wind. That's a good sign. So that is the Stutsman County emergency manager sharing a report to the National Weather Service. Train cars were tipped over. Oh boy, was 20 empty coal cars. I don't, full or empty. That's heavy duty stuff. I'd have never tried to tip over a train car, but if I did, I would have busted a gut. So that is some nasty stuff there. 20 empty coal cars were tipped by the tornado-warned storm, and that was in the Steel area. East end of Steel. Ugh! All right, here you go. 9:10 is the time. No tornado warning right now. Stutsman County, Jamestown. How far are you away from the storm? Let's draw a line, and let's measure the path. Here is the leading edge of the storm. Notice the motion of these storms, kind of that northeasterly. This one says it's moving fast, right? If I hold my cursor over that, I think the storm motion is 52 miles per hour. I don't think it's moving that fast. I think that's a little erroneous. This one says 35 miles per hour. Hutch likes that measurement better. 33. So I'm going to go with the consensus. 35 miles per hour. So if it's moving at 35 miles per hour, here's a look at Jamestown. We'll go ahead and move this over so y'all can see. Now there's that. There's Jamestown, 15, moving at 30, 20 minutes to 30 minutes away. So right at 9:30, I'd be prepared for some windy thunderstorms to move through. And yes, you could see some hail. Right now, the hail risk is lower than 1 inch in diameter, but it's not zero. So keep that in mind. All right, let me see if I can turn off my telestrator line thing. Okay, go away. Yep, go away. Okay, so now we're good. I think this is a really, really good time to make sure. Oh, it's still drawing lines for me. Okay. We have a tornado warned storm still working its way into Eureka, toward Eureka. The warning is for areas west of Eureka, and this warning is basically for, let me see. It's moving east at 18 miles per hour still. Considerable threat, observed tornado, and 2-inch diameter hail. The last report that it was in Mound City. Mound City's back here. Here's the storm. It's moving out of Mound City, and it's heading in the general direction of Eureka. But look at the hail. By the way, where you see these blue colors and flashies there, that's some big time hail with that storm. So, I feel so bad. Now, if you're in Ashley, if you're in Zeeland, Hague, Venturia, if we loop this, you might get a feel that this storm might be moving in your general direction, but it has been, look at this, just creeping and crawling around, moving off to the east. Any crops in this area near Harriet are taking an inordinate amount of huge hail with that particular storm. So those are working their way in that general direction. We have a new tornado vortex signature down here. I wonder if that is new or if that was old. That's a little old. There's still some spin with these storms as they're working their way into Stutsman County to the west. I'll keep my eyes on it, and the National Weather Service keeping our eyes on it, their eyes on it as well. Getting back to you folks in the Carrington area, Grace City, Glenfield, Kensal, Buchanan, I believe that all of the hail core stuff is going to stay down on the southern side of this central part of the county and not necessarily push right up into your business there up in Kensal. Woodworth has seen most of the hail potential skirt to the south. But if you're in Buchanan now, there's a little better chance that this hail core could be moving in your general direction. This hail core, the estimated size by the Doppler radar, you see the little 1 in the triangle there? That little 1 in the triangle says that one could have 1-inch diameter hail, okay? So there is a possibility for that as that storm moves its way off to the north and to the east. One active tornado warned storm is continuing to slowly creep its way towards Eureka. It looks like we got a brand new tornado warning and a brand new thunderstorm warning. Remember I was saying a lot of hail here? Yep. The north side has a hail threat, and that's what the main risk is there, along with some 60-mile-per-hour gusts. National Weather Service says 2-inch diameter hail, considerable damage, 17-mile-per-hour movement to the east for that hail. That means if it's moving straight east, it should stay south of Ashley, and it's going to be close. But if you are anywhere in the path of this storm, that's a nasty storm. Now, the tornado warned part of the storm remains on the south flank of this storm down here. That's where the inflow is. That's where the rotation is tight. And that warning's in effect for the next half hour. It's only moving east at 15 miles per hour. That is a radar-indicated tornado now. Let me go to the National Weather Service in Aberdeen, see if I've got any information. 9:02. Had another confirmed tornado southeast of Mound City. Okay, so that's this area right here. Another confirmed tornado southeast of Mound City. So that's a nasty cluster of storms there. That's what's going on right now. You're watching Hutch's Weather. I'm going to take a peek and see if I've got any more content coming in from you folks on my Facebook page. Gonna be a long night, Hutch, says Chris, and that's indeed possible for sure, Chris. And thank you very much, Chris, for your support. Chris is not only someone who watches, but he is a good friend and a client. And if you know anybody that's interested in supporting Hutch on the new website, Chris did that. And, Chris over at Evco, you want to give him a call. All right. Thanks so much for joining me on Hutch's Weather. I'll keep you updated here. Stutzman County, if you're in Jamestown, storms are moving into your business here in the next half hour or so. More so, the stronger wave of storms will be moving toward the reservoir areas north of town in the James River Valley, Pingree, Buchanan, Kinsale, Wimbledon. Those areas can expect the stronger part of the storm there. Right now, the hail threat is up to about 1 inch in diameter from those cells. Tornado warning for the Eureka area in South Dakota. Storms moving out of Belcourt are moving into parts of southern Manitoba right now. Devil's Lake, look at this nonsense starting to fire up. What? Okay, so we got Cheyenne, New Rockford right here, and now I'm starting to see some intense hail here. Jessica, thank you for sharing stars as well. And thank you for passing the good word. You passed the good word about Hutch's Weather, and it helps your neighbors know that Hutch is still doing weather, because I still run into people every day that don't know Hutch Johnson is still doing weather right here, and I am. These storms are moving into Cheyenne right now, and they're increasing in intensity a little bit up here. Hail potential on this storm probably upwards of nickel size as it works its way north towards Cheyenne, and these are moving into the Benson and Ramsey County areas right now. If you are in Devil's Lake, are you seeing these storms? What are you seeing? Let me know. Make sure you post pictures on hutchesweather.com. Let's look at these puppies right now from Devil's Lake. Oh, looks dark. Yep, out Hutch's window, it's getting dark too. Why is the sun setting so early? I'm not happy with this whole situation. We'll talk more about that in another episode of Hutch's Weather. Devil's Lake, you can see the shores of the lake. You can see the skyline out there. Looks like we got some raindrops slashing through the shot there a little bit as well in Devil's Lake. So it's raining there in Devil's Lake. Let's see if we can see anything vibrant and bright working its way. And there's the city lights. You got to love that. Beautiful Detroit Lakes, North Dakota. How about Devil's Lake, North Dakota? Hutch is getting delirious from talking so long. I think I need a big glass of water. I think I'm going to do that. Thank you very much, David. Thank you, Laura. You guys are the most best. We do have stronger thunderstorms developing near Cheyenne, pushing north into southern parts of Benson County, not far from you folks in Maddock, but most of them is off to the east of you in Maddock right now. That's heading towards Fort Totten, Warwick area right now. These storms are kind of slowly pressing to the north. This says it's moving east. I don't think I see that. I think these have been drifting northward. We'll watch it loop here as it's doing its thing. Yeah, see that? It's kind of moving north. Okay, so don't pay attention to that moving straight east. It's moving northeast towards Devil's Lake. You guys are going to get a gully washer there, heavy rain. Bottineau, Belcourt, you're getting some showers and thunderstorms crossing the border without a passport. Whether they're invited or not, they're heading up into southern Manitoba right now. Look at this, the Valley City area. You got a non-severe storm working its way in, just heavy rain for you. And we'll keep you updated right here. If you are in the path of this nasty storm near Eureka, South Dakota, seek shelter in an interior room on the lowest floor of a safe structure. Get out of things like mobile homes, manufactured homes, campers and tents and all of that garbage, and get into something more sturdy. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. You can get the very latest by visiting Hutch's Weather's website called hutchesweather.com. You'll find the latest on there. And again, all of my fine friends and sponsors make Hutch's Weather possible. Keep them in mind should you need any of their areas of expertise, including Evco Petroleum Products based out of Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, serving a 200-mile radius. As you get ready for the fall season, whether you're harvesting or getting ready to house that equipment till planting season, Evco can keep you equipped with all that you need for your operation. Not only that, they specialize in customer service and they'll deliver it right to you. Please click on the link, get more information, give them a call today. But Hutch's Weather right here showing you the latest. If I'm on live, it'll show you the latest. If you got a warning in your area, it'll show you the latest. Your hour-by-hour forecast and, well, the 7-day planning forecast is right up at the top of the screen. My most recent videos, some of them longer than others. As you know, I can be long-winded when the occasion is justified. and your photos that you can upload of severe weather. If anyone is in and around Steele, North Dakota, or knows someone out there that can upload photos to Hutch's website of the train cars, I would really appreciate that. And again, if you have time, when it is safe to do so, I invite you to visit hutchesweather.com. I'm going to go away for a break as these storms move east, whether it's overnight or otherwise. I'll be here. We'll let you know. The risk of severe weather tonight will go down. In the late night hours, the main threat will be a few burps of gusty wind, some hail that'll generally be small, but I know you don't like hail on your crops, right? Nobody likes hail on their crops or their gardens. So we'll keep you up to date right here. You're watching Hutch's Weather. Until next time, as these storms approach, get the information, stay informed tonight. I'll do my best to keep you informed. Follow me on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, like the videos, interact with questions, ask questions. It's what makes Hutch's Weather Hutch's Weather. You make Hutch's Weather. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe.